All right, so let's talk rhizomes. What are they and how do you get them? Hop rhizomes are typically harvested one time a year. It's part of the root system. And so when you get them shipped, from us at least, they'll be in a bag stapled so that air can breathe back and forth. And they typically come in two different flavors. One looks like you got a stick. Sometimes it looks like you have no growth at all on there, but you'd be surprised what will grow. But there's the buds right there. You can see them right there. And then sometimes you just get these awesome, gnarly looking ones that have just tons of growth coming off of them. Now, the more growth, the more likely is one is going to do really well, but you don't want 30 vines coming up out of this. You really only want one. So I'm gonna plant this one today, but as they come up, and I will probably train them back to the healthiest one vine to grow the rest of its life for us. All right, so there's 3 key things to growing hop rhizomes. One, that big thing, the sun. You need a lot of it, so you wanna plant mostly on like your western exposure if you can. Just as much sun for as long of the day as you can get, especially in the peak of summer months, your July and August days, you will see those things growing inches per day, which is pretty darn cool. All right, the next thing you need is something to grow the hops in. There's nothing wrong with growing them out of the ground, but I'm not 100% sure where they're gonna go yet in my backyard or where I wanna train them to go. So I'm gonna put them in a pot. So you can put them in a pot, put them in the ground, wherever you want. Now, when you're growing them though, you wanna leave yourself distance between them. And that's all outlined on a great guide on our website, but roughly 5 to 6 feet apart if you're doing different varietals. If you're doing the same varietal, you can cheat them in closer, roughly 3 feet apart. But they grow pretty aggressively, so you don't have to be right next to each other. So in this pot, I'll just plant one healthy rhizome and we'll be good. The last thing you need is water, just like anything else. Good old-fashioned water. I do in the beginning daily, and then I'll slow it down as the summer months come along. But like anything else that grows, it needs energy. Getting a lot of it from the soil, but needs that water to grow. So now all we got to do is plant it, and it's not that complicated. I typically have my pots with rocks at the bottom so I can get some extra drainage coming out. Soil at least 3/4 of it up. And this is a potting soil, so I can cut it with my hands here real easy. And you can either go vertically down or horizontal. Either way you're doing it, make sure your little white sprouts are coming up. You don't want to be pushing those down. So I'm just going to go horizontal here and then just cover it over. And then I'm going to be putting a stick in here that I can train it up for the first few weeks of its life. So some accessories we sell for growing hops are these awesome clips. And this is twine, but it's made out of paper. And that's ideal for hops to grow on and ultimately quite recyclable when you're done with it. So the clips are pretty cool. They're meant to go into the ground and just kind of lock there. So this is basically an anchor that keeps it from being ripped back out again. And then you can tie right along this up to where the hops are gonna grow to. I typically like to have the hops go up at least 10 feet. They wanna go up towards the sun as high as they can go. This time we might be going up to my 2nd-story roof line, which will be about 20 feet. It'll be pretty fun, and it'll provide us with some nice shade. A few final notes on rhizomes. 1, mold is quite common, and it's not horrible. This one has a little tiny bit here. I'd have no problem planting that. If it's fully enveloped in white, I probably wouldn't use that one, but a little bit of mold somewhere on it, not a big deal. Also, I'd also get it in the ground as fast as possible. So if you're still in a frost advisory where you live, get it into a potted plant in the house, just somewhere where it's getting the soil and the nutrients it wants. Otherwise, they're pretty hardy and pretty easy to grow. So good luck, and tell us about your hops in the comments below. This week we have a continuation of how our hop rhizome's going. It's now a full-on plant. As you can see, it's grown up enough, and I've got a paper rope trellised here all the way up to my roof line. It's close to 20 feet up there, and I'm excited of how quickly it's growing. It loves this southern exposure. Well, wanted to give you a quick rhizome update. We're here at the beginning of August and our cascade's growing quite nicely. We're about 15, 16 feet up and you can see the cascade hops growing up there. Okay, so rhizomes are officially in the warehouse and shipping. So it's time to get your order in now.